Hello everyone, and welcome to the first session of Sexual Therapy. My name... Excuse me everyone, please.
What unprofessional thing to do.
One unprofessional thing to do.
This sex therapy is like AA, okay? You can't laugh at it.
Everyone, listen very closely. My name is Wendell. Okay.
Hi, Wendell.
Yes. Wendell. My name is Wendell, and I'm here
Wendell
today
Savage.
because when did I hit rock bottom? Last night, I ordered a pizza. Double cheese, cheesy crust.
So you had double cheese and cheesy crust?
Double cheese,
but Wendell,
cheesy crust.
You're lactose intolerant.
Double cheese and cheesy crust, and that thing comes in all oily and lovely
and cheesy,
and
extra
they
cheesy.
send over their finest delivery girl, and I look at her and I think, wow, it's about to get hot
and cheesy
and she comes in, and I take the first slice of the pizza. It's got oil all over it, dripping with oil. That cheese is nice and hot. That cheesy crust, that's delicious. I take the first bite out of that pizza.
This bit's giving me too visual of an image.
The cheese is so good, and I get some of the oil on my chest and belly. And I take out the second slice. Twosies, I take out the second slice. I put that bad boy in my mouth.
Hector,
by this time,
I don't know if you understand how good my imagination is.
I'm thinking to myself,
I don't want to
you know
picture
what?
this.
The third slice is looking pretty nice. So I take that one and I roll it up into a little pizza sushi, and I take a bite out of that bad boy. And my God, by that time I pick up the phone and I call the pizza place and I say, look here, I need to buy 2 pies, pizza pineapple pie, pizza pepperoni pie. So do you want some cheesy crust with that? Let me gauge the room.
Okay, you can't
Guys.
just do that. Why? I'm not allowing that.
Why not?
That's copywritten.
That is copywritten, yeah. So yeah, I'm 100% just ripping off and copying another bit that's already been done because I'm not creative.
By P and Kill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hello. And welcome to episode.
Yeah, that section was entirely copyrighted, and we're probably going to get done for that. This is the last episode.
To be fair, the cheese bit wasn't.
No, the cheese bit wasn't. The bit I was going for is it's a sexual therapy session, and he starts off by just talking about the food that he ordered. Nothing sexual at all. Just starts talking about this fucking pizza that he's ordered. It just goes into great detail about the pizza, and he's just this fucking fat slob. Yeah.
You can tell by the voice, so it's supposed to be a fat slob.
Yeah. Did you like my American accent? I thought that was pretty nice and natural.
I honestly didn't notice.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll have to listen when you're editing it.
I'll listen.
I think
that was
good.
just you doing your bit voice.
Yeah, do you guys like this American accent? Yeah. Like, no accent. But yeah, welcome to episode 33 of the Nethergreen podcast. I'm your host. Okay, no, I was joking. Welcome to episode 33. I am your host. I am Bradley. I'm joined today, as always. Not always. As always.
Most of the time.
As always, apart from one episode by our host. Could we do that again? We can do that again. Where do you want me to start from? Where do you want me to start from?
So, the cheese.
Cheese. Yes, let me continue from where I was at. So I take a bite out of this pie and I think to myself, yes, I need another. Okay, we're not doing that bit.
Welcome to episode 33. I am your host, Bradley, and I am joined today, as always.
And I am your host, Hector, and Leander is also here.
Leander's here.
Yes.
It's been a little while since you've been here.
Yeah.
Fun fact, even though we've recorded many, you've only been in 2 episodes.
I know, which blows my mind because I think I must have been
in at least 4.
I think
2 of them were
maybe
lost.
even 5.
Maybe even 5.
Because I think it was 3 that were lost.
Maybe?
I don't know about
because there was 1 that Bradley wasn't in, and then there were 2 that Bradley was in that all got binned.
Were you in the one at Daniel's house?
No.
Are you sure?
Luke was there, so probably not.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have
I don't
recorded one
I don't
with
believe
Luke
so.
there. Because
That's
Luke
true.
isn't a podcast guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think it's 4 then. But even then, no, it is 4, but the 2 you're in was one session.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Because we spoke for ages about China, and then we moved on, and I split that into 2 episodes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was 4.
Wait, all of them got binned?
Yeah, every other episode he's been in.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And I've explained why. The episode I wasn't in was a mess, and then you started just playing music. And then, so I couldn't edit out any of the awkward pauses. And then the other one, I played you the audio, was just fucked. It was with a broken mic, and it sounded exactly like this.
This is Hector's brother himself. Please introduce yourself. Hi, it's Leander.
But yeah, it sounded like that, and that's not a good way of listening to anyone do anything. It's also 33. We've done it 33 times now. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. No, but how have you been, Leander?
Been doing well. Same old.
Nah, I don't really care.
Same shit, different day.
I asked to be polite. I don't want to know about your life.
Yeah.
How have you been, Hector? That's what.
Oh shit! I never thought you'd ask, man. Well, life's been great. It's been terrible. I got arrested 3 days ago.
Not again.
I'm moving into a new house on Monday. That's 3 days away.
Yeah, the saga continues. 3 days away. I mean,
yeah, we're getting closer and closer. Eventually, you're going to get an episode where it's supposedly on the day of the move-in, and it's just going to be Bradley, and Bradley's going to announce it as, "Hi guys, this is going to be a rather somber episode. Hector died in a house fire."
No, but there's a very big chance that the next episode will be recorded in your new house, in our new quote-unquote studio.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Indeed, that is a big chance.
This might be the last episode recorded at Bradley's house.
Yeah. In fact, everything will be in that room apart from one thing, which is...
Apart from you?
No, an armchair. So basically, the setup of the room is roughly the same size as your bedroom, right? So basically, picture this same size room. In the room, we're going to have the desk on this side.
I can't imagine it.
Bradley, you piece of shit. We're gonna have the desk on this side. We're gonna have much like how you've got a
So you're copying my room is what I'm hearing.
Except my cabinet is gonna be taller, and there's gonna be 2 of them because the door isn't on that side of the room. It's on
my
So
side.
really,
side
Bradley,
of the
what
room.
he's trying to get at is he's trying to make your room, but bigger and better.
Yeah, but then
Just like his penis. He's
exactly.
compensating.
But then what I want to do is have so I'll have a chair in front of the desk, but when we're recording podcasts, there'll be a table in the middle. We'll put the mic on the middle, and there'll be an armchair in that corner of the room, and I'll just swivel my chair around to this side so we can both be in front of the microphone. The mic will be sitting in between us, and that's the plan.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it'll be pretty nice. Yeah, there'll be also I'm going to buy some soundproofing curtains, which don't know how good they're going to be, but supposedly they're quite good from the reviews that I've read.
Well, there must be. Fun fact: soundproofing curtains are like involved in most murders.
Wow.
Yeah. Most
Maybe I'm going to
unsolved
murder you. Yeah, maybe that's why it'll be the last
I feel
podcast.
scared.
Yeah.
I offered to help you buy some foam, but you said that's not okay.
Well, I don't know yet. I need to ask, and find out what the policy is for,
You heard it here first, folks. Hector was a pussy. It's his house, and he doesn't know if he could put up some
Well,
foam.
no, because I don't know, when the deposit is almost $2,000, I don't really want to lose my $2,000 because I put some foam on the walls.
It's...
Because they could totally do that. They could totally just be like, "Oh, sorry, you broke the rules. We're keeping your deposit."
The landlord is allergic to foam.
Some places have that. You're not allowed to put stuff up on the walls, hang stuff up on the walls.
Yeah, but it's not hanging stuff. It's with
it.
No, it's foam. You can fucking blue tack it. You can Velcro it. It's foam. It's light. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to nail foam to a wall. That's like fucking hanging a bubble. Like, you don't need to do that. It's light enough that it will just sit there in the air.
Okay, true, but theoretical scenario here. Okay, you've put all this foam up.
Hypothetical
And
scenario.
then...
Theoretical scenario means it will happen.
Oh,
That's true.
this most likely would happen.
Okay.
The landlord visits the house while you're living in it, just to check up on something. Maybe something needs repairing, this, that, or whatever. And as they're walking past your room, they see it covered in foam. And they're like, "Hector,
that breaks the rules
what
of the
fuck
contract."
is
Did
this?"
you not read the small print? We specifically
didn't
said
allow
no
this.
foam.
Yeah,
And then, boom.
yeah.
Deposit gone. It's,
And who's going to pay for it?
they're going
Not only
on a
deposit gone, but you are getting kicked out.
Yeah, I'm going to be homeless.
You're going to be homeless like a dog on the
That's
street.
right, yeah.
But yeah, welcome to
we'll see. We'll see. I could very well put foam up on the walls, but the real answer is I can't be bothered to look up and find good foam right now. So for the moment, I'm just going to get the curtains.
Just find it on Amazon, bro.
No, they're going to be fucking dog shit.
They're not going to be dog shit. It's foam. It's all the same, mate.
Alright, foam on its own doesn't do anything. We need to get actual soundproofing foam. Same with curtains. I've seen a lot of curtains that say quote unquote soundproof, and in the reviews, loads of people are saying, I put these up, did absolutely fuck all.
Yeah,
And
but
I've
those
seen
are
the
probably
same with
people
loads
living
of-
in London where the sounds they're getting are like actual screams. Like people getting raped and murdered outside their windows.
But you can get proper soundproofing foam, and then that'll make it actually like sound really good. But if I think
Imagine
just
if you
get
got
normal
imagine
foam-
if you got the proper stuff and like you had a nervous breakdown in that room. You can't hear a fucking thing. It's desert. You can hear your own heartbeat. You can hear yourself blink. The reviews 1 star. It's too good.
Yeah. But also the second thing is how much space on the walls there is. So I need to wait till we've actually got all the furniture in to figure that out, basically.
That's fair.
But yeah, we could probably buy some. And to be fair, we could probably
like
buy like sticky, like the 2-sided sticky tape.
Yeah, that's what you need, man.
Yeah.
It's foam. It's light.
Yeah.
It's as light as foam.
Yeah. So the next podcast might be recorded there with optimal sound quality, excellent precision and prestige, and
You won't hear my family in the background, essentially.
that's, you know,
You might hear Leander.
Yeah.
He won't be in the episode, but you might just hear him be like, does anyone want some toast? As he makes toast.
and I do have an Oriental girlfriend, so you
bat
might
in the
hear
apple.
some classic Asian
Yeah.
ding 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 in the
Oh.
background. You know, yeah.
You might hear what sounds like a Japanese toilet. It's actually a Chinese woman.
Yes, perfect Asian singing in the background, like Wing from South Park. I shout in the back. You hear me in the background of the podcast.
That's a qua.
This is getting racist now. So
It
let's
is
move
getting
on.
racist.
Yeah.
Moving on from
Welcome to episode 33.
today, we're going to be primarily talking about Doctor Who, I think.
Yeah, but we've got some little bits. I want to talk about Wonka, otherwise known in Britain as Wanker.
Were you wonking your winky in the?
I wonked so fucking hard watching Wonka.
Yeah,
I had an optimal wonk.
nice. He wonked his willy harder than he's ever wonked it before.
His name is so silly. It was good. 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Wow.
Genuinely, it was way better than I thought it'd be. My main issues with the film are a couple of things. One, Timothée Chalamet is a weird choice. He has like...
Who is that?
He's the main actor who plays Wonka.
Right.
He has like weirdly no energy. Like there are a few lines, and I'm going to do an impression of the lines, even though they're slightly embarrassing. Like there's a line where some little girl is like, "What are you doing?" And he turns around and he's like, "I'm making chocolate, of course." And there's one where he goes, he's talking to a crowd and he's like, "So quiet up and listen down. Wait, scratch that, reverse it." And that's exactly how he's doing it. It's like, these are like eccentric lines. And you're doing it like that. You're doing it with no energy. For the "I'm making chocolate, of course," I'm expecting a big I'm making chocolate, of course.
I mean,
but no, you're saying it like reserved. Like, where's your energy? Look at Johnny Depp playing Willy Wonka.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Johnny Depp playing Willy Wonka.
There's no energy. Now, there's one bit where he's talking about the chocolate and he's like, "Do you want it weird? Eccentric? Do you want it insane?" And he's doing it like that. And it's like, where's the insanity, dude? You're so goddamn reserved. Open up a bit. Like, have the energy.
I mean, I'd kind of expect it though, because when you think about the movies that he's been in, he's had to play more of a
Who, Timothy?
more of a stoic like character.
Yeah,
like, like in Dune or
No, I agree, but that's why I kind of think he's miscast a little bit. The best part of Timothy's performance, weirdly, is the singing. Because it's a musical, if you didn't know.
Yeah, of course.
And the reason why it's the best part is because he's not actually that good of a singer. But that kind of works. Willy Wonka doesn't need to be a great singer.
Right.
He's singing because he's passionate,
Yeah.
you know? So the fact that he kind of sounds weird, it's like, yeah, no, Willy Wonka should kind of sound like a bit of a weird singer, you know? My other two big critiques. One, you know the classic Willy Wonka song, Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. So, they play that song at the end, and he sings it, and it's like, that's great. I would love that, if it weren't for the fact that the opening tune of that song, the music, do, 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 they are playing that in different emotions throughout the entire movie. There's a sad sing, do, 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 do. There's a happy sing, do, 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 do. Like that specific tune plays like 8 to 10 times throughout the entire movie before he sings that song. And I'm sitting there in the audience thinking, look, I've seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I know the song. Calm down. You don't need to play it this much, man. I love the fact that it's in the end. Again, Timothy Chalamet singing it sounds fine. I don't need every 10 minutes for there to be a little do, 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 do in the score. Leave it alone, man. Don't want it. That took me out. The more it happened, the more it took me out of the movie, and I was just sat there thinking like, oh, there's that fucking tune again, you know? And the third thing that I found, there's 4 things. The third thing that I found wrong with it, it's weirdly racist. There's 3 main black characters. One of them is Key from Key and Peele.
Really? Wait, really?
Yeah, he's in it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
actually. But the other 2 are like, you know, they're separate characters.
That is perfect casting.
He plays a police
Yeah.
detective.
So
He plays the chief of police.
Yeah.
And the gag with him is that he's getting bribed by the villains with chocolate. Yeah. And throughout the movie, he's getting fatter and fatter until at the end, he's a fat tub of lard. And honestly, it's really fucking funny. Every time he appears, he's just slightly more overweight.
That's perfect casting.
But then there's 2 characters. There's a little girl, a little black girl, and a big black man. And they're separate characters. They're good characters, don't get me wrong. But then at the end, the twist is that they're related. And I was sitting in the cinema being like, hold on. So there's 3 main black characters, and 2 of them are actually related. That's not something you see in movies anymore. I don't care. Let me stress that. I don't care. But I was sitting there being like, that's kind of bold to have 2 of your only black characters be related.
See, for me, that definitely shouldn't be bold. Because, let's say, for example, there are 2 characters and they are related. The chances that they are both going to be the same race is like an 80 to 90% chance.
No, obviously, the fact that they're related means they're, you know, fine, they're the same race. But it's the fact that, like, there's only 3 black people in the entire film, and 2 of them just so happen to turn out to be related. Yeah. I thought that was bold.
I get your point, but
yeah. I mean,
like
after we just watched Doctor Who, where Isaac Newton is now Indian, I don't think that's that bold.
No, the bold.
I don't think that's
the bold thing about it is like, one, you could say, oh, I was expecting more black characters, whatever. But the fact that, again, 3 of them, and 2 of them just so happen to be related. That's bold. Because that's a thing that used to happen. You'd have black characters in a film and they would be brothers or some shit like that. And they're the only ones. It's like there's
2 black brothers.
Here's the best way of putting it. It's like in the town of Wonka, there's 1 black family. It's almost like what it is. I thought it was bold. And I'm not saying goodbye. Again, this was one of my problems with the film. I was a bit like, because I've seen enough movies where leading up to it, I figured it out. I was like, oh my god, are they actually doing this? Are they related? That's ridiculous. And then they were, and I was like, oh my fucking god. Like, what?
To be fair, again, I don't think that should be considered bold. Yeah. Because take, for example, there's probably plenty of towns or villages in the world where there are only 1 black family. What, is that bold?
Yeah, but do you see that in a 2023 film? That's what's bold.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be bold because it exists in the world. Like, is it bold that those people exist? No.
Still, I don't know. I remember seeing the thing being like, I don't care, but that's kind of anti-woke in a way. If anything, yeah, you should celebrate it, Hector. Because that is kind of anti-woke. I was expecting there to be more.
Yeah, again, I don't think that should be considered offensive or in any way.
I could see people considering it offensive.
I can see people considering it offensive for sure. But I don't think, unless they're depicted in a demeaning, or like, you know, derogatory way,
Yeah.
then for sure that is offensive.
Yeah.
But if it's just there are 3 black characters and 2 of them are related,
yeah.
that's not derogatory or offensive. That's just it is what it is.
I suppose it's only offensive if you consider
That would be like if I came to your house and I was like, "Oh my god, everyone in your family is white."
No, but that's
bold.
that's why it's kind of offensive, because you then look at the dozens of other white characters in the film, and none of them just so happen to be related.
What about Willy? What about his granddad and the son? They're both white and they're related.
What granddad and the son? What are you talking
In
about?
Willy Wonka, the granddad and the son.
No, okay, so this film isn't a remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is like an origin story of Willy Wonka.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's not. It's nothing.
I see.
He doesn't even have a factory until the very end of the movie.
Oh, so it's something completely different.
It's completely original.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Actually, I'll explain the plot quickly. You don't care.
No, I don't.
The plot of the film is that he comes to a new town in order to sell his chocolate, and he gets scammed by an old couple in a hotel, and he's forced to work there. So he has to sell.
Black.
No, not black. But their handmaiden girl is. Her name's Noodles, and he has to sell enough chocolate to raise enough money to buy himself out of this scammy contract, so that he can make his factory and whatever. So it's a completely original story. It just so happens to be starring, you know, Willy Wonka.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Now, my full thing wrong with the film, is that Willy Wonka is like way too goofy. And that sounds weird, because Willy Wonka's a goofy guy. But if you look at the other films, the one starring Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka and the other one starring Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka, they're dark. Like, they have moments where they're like cruel. Especially Gene Wilder. The tunnel scene. There's a scene in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where they're going through the tunnel and he's like screaming at the children a poem about death.
Yeah.
And then you look at Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka and like kids are dying and he's like, I don't give a shit. This Willy Wonka is just like completely 100% optimistic. I couldn't imagine this version of Willy Wonka seeing a child literally dying from like drowning in chocolate and not trying to help. Like, he's just way too optimistic. He's way too goofy of a character. And that is a genuine problem, because they're doing this as like an origin story, but I can't see this being a prequel to any of the current Wonka films. I see this as just its own separate universe, because there's no way this Willy Wonka, who is just so goofy and so optimistic, grows up to be any of them.
But don't you think he can grow up and mature?
He
Maybe
can
this is just him.
He's not a kid in this. It's an origin. He's
Is
not a kid. He's the same age as Timothée Chalamet. He's like 25,
and he's
26.
still the same character when he's, you know, he has
Yeah.
the chocolate effect. You know,
Well, we only see it at the very end, and it's definitely it's a prequel to the original, because the Oompa Loompas in the film, and there is only one played by Hugh Grant, which is funny. But they have the exact same design as the original Willy Wonkas, as the original Oompa Loompas. So it's definitely a prequel to that. And there's no way in hell this character grows up to become Gene Wilder's character. No way. Zero chance. Nada. They're my main problems with the film. But in terms of positives, I have many. The music is really, really good. I wasn't expect when I didn't know it was a musical until the film opened with a song, and I will be honest, at that point I was like, oh fuck, oh it's a musical, isn't it? Oh no, but no, I was wrong. Music slaps. I'll probably listen to the soundtrack.
That's an important part of a musical, obviously.
The music, yeah. Yes. You're right. Set design was wonderful. I love the set design in this movie.
That I would have expected.
Yeah, just the movie, every location looks really, really great in my opinion.
It's been the same for many of the Willy Wonka films.
Yeah.
The original one, great set design.
Yeah.
Can't speak for the
Even 2005. No, 2005 did have a great set design.
I haven't watched that
because
one,
it's
so I don't
directed by Tim Burton, who really does do great. He's really gothic with his set design and shit. Like the town in that movie looks weird. It looks awful. There's like houses that are like sideways and slanted and shit. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So the set design was great. Costume design, lovely. I realised while watching it, I was like, wow, I love how Willy Wonka dresses. I kind of dress a bit like him myself. I love the way he dresses.
I think good set design and good costume design takes the movie forward a lot. Like in Barbie,
Yeah.
the set design and the costume design in that movie
Impeccable.
was really, really good.
It was.
Like really, really good and outstanding. And it makes the film stand out in your memory from other films because it has a distinct look.
I'd watch this film again, 100%. I'd watch it in the cinemas again, is how much I liked it. A 7, I mean, if the audience have been listening, they should, and they've heard how I rated some movie. A 7's really good. Like, I actually really enjoyed this movie. The main thing that surprised me in the movie, and it shouldn't be that surprising, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I used to be a guy who never used to cry during a movie. And then something switched on me when I was in uni. Might be a bit too deep for the podcast. I think it was when I started having panic attacks that this kind of switch started. But now it's really, really easy for me to cry during a movie. To the point where I'll watch movies I've seen before, back when I never used to cry. And I'll be on the verge of tears, or I will actually just cry. I went and saw Wonka with my family, but I promise you, if it wasn't for the fact that I was with my family, I would have cried twice at this movie. There were 2 scenes that really got me. I was watching them being like, damn man, this is really lovely. Like, this is sad and lovely, beautiful. This is so human. And yeah, I had the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I went and saw it 4 times. And 3 of the times, I didn't see it with anyone. I saw it with other people, so I held back the tears. But then one of the times I went and saw it alone, and I cried like a fucking baby. But yeah, honestly, if you're watching this and you care about my opinion, go and see Wonka. It does one thing that's more important than anything. And I've said this before on the podcast 100%. Be fun. Just be fun. This is a really, really fun movie.
That's a key part of it.
It's so key.
To be fun. Yeah,
if this movie took itself seriously, not a chance. Fucking 3 out of 10. But this movie is goofy. It's fun. And again, Wonka's goofy and Wonka's fun. And that is one of my critiques. But the movie itself, not a critique at all. Goofy, fun, really enjoyable, really well made. It's by the director of Paddington 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I haven't seen...
I've seen the first one.
I haven't actually seen them, but Paddington 2 is still like one of the highest rated movies ever in like the internet space. People love Paddington 2. To the point where they bring it up in that Nicolas Cage movie. Yeah. Where he says it's one of his favourite movies. Like, people love Paddington 2. I don't know why. I haven't seen it. But I fucking love this movie. But I gave it a 7. I didn't love it. It was good. I don't know why I said that. I just really enjoyed it, and I will definitely watch it again. And it could go down in a rewatch, 100%. I don't think it will go up. I don't think it was above a 7, but it could go down. But right now, I'm comfortable giving it a 7. It was really good. You should watch it.
Well, when it's out of the cinemas, I'd definitely be happy to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just goofy fun. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what I thought of Wonka. I think a 7 out of 10 is appropriate. And again, it had really good music. Like the not just music, but I think the audio design was pretty great.
Yeah, audio is a big part of film. Yeah, but I think audio in movies makes up more than 50% of the experience, in my opinion.
It's a huge part.
Yeah, I think so, because the voice acting performance of the actors, the scores, the ambient background, all of that together, like you said, you'd listen to audio dramas. But you wouldn't just watch.
If I was to watch, If I was to watch a silent film, it would require like 100% of my attention. But an audio drama doesn't, in the sense that like I listen to, because Doctor Who has a huge range of audio dramas, with Big Finish Productions. And I'll just listen to them like on the go. I'll listen to them on the bus. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck, man. I'll listen to them walking down the street, bro! And that's not something I can do. It would require too much of my time to just watch.
Alright, what if you're just sitting down at your desk? Would you rather watch something that has no audio, that's done in the same fashion as if it did have audio?
I think here's a better way of putting it. I would... And I do, because there's films, that are old, or shows that are old that are like this. I would much rather watch, like, a show or a movie that's 480p but with really good audio than one that's 1080p with really bad audio.
Yeah.
It's the best way of putting it.
Actually, something that I just thought of, there is something which kind of comes close to this of no audio and being really, really good. There's something that I watched, an animated TV series by Gwen something or other.
I know.
Tartakovsky.
You're talking about that tribe thing.
It's called Primal.
That's it, yeah.
It has no dialogue, but the scores, the audio is exceptional.
Yeah.
Like the music and all of the audio with it is still exceptional.
I've still got to watch that.
Especially the
I
ambient
really
background
recommend
was
it.
really
The main reason I haven't watched it yet is because I'm just too busy.
Yeah. I recommend it if, I mean, when you have like
I'm a busy guy, audience.
something like that with no dialogue, I think that makes the story harder to tell.
What are you laughing at? I am a busy guy.
No, it's the fact that you went, I'm a busy guy, and you immediately lost your smile, put your head forward, and then just went,
I am.
planted your fingers into your eyes. Just
Well, you should find
too
some
busy.
time to watch Tartakovsky, can't pronounce his last name. You should find some time to watch his Primal, because it is good. Imagine trying to tell a story without any dialogue.
Yeah, but imagine if Primal wasn't Prime.
Well, it might be actually.
That'd be 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You were
That'd be
telling me about
fantastic.
this fucking... You said there was like a soundproof info?
Ah, yes. So, I guess in the same vein as audio. What an incredible segue. What
Thank you.
honestly,
creative,
I think that was
stunning,
maybe
ingenious. You know, I was
The
going
most
along the vein of
exceptional.
audio, being like, speaking of audio.
yeah.
But anyway,
No, but that's the idea. Audio brings me to that idea. That's the
That's
idea of a
it,
segue, you know? It comes up naturally. That's a natural direction for the conversation. It's not now.
Yeah.
Now okay, for the audience, we started talking about this before the podcast, and Hector was like, let's save it for the podcast. And I was like, hey, I'll segue to that. And now I have. You're welcome.
sure. That is legally a segue.
It is! That's 100% a segue. If I heard that in a podcast, I'd be like, that's a good topic.
Yeah. So, I want to get some nice speakers and a nice TV for the new house that we're moving into. I have to have, I guess, like a mini cinema experience. And like I've already said, I think audio makes up more than 50% of any good movie, TV series, whatever. Fuck you. I like the audio. I think it's excellent.
He loves the audio.
So we went to Harrods. Harrods, because you don't know what Harrods is, Bradley.
I know
but
Harrods is, bitch.
You do?
No.
Okay. Harrods is like...
You were right, but I hated the fact that you made that assumption.
Well, because I know that because last time I brought it up, you were like, what's Harrods?
Yeah, but they didn't know that. You didn't know that.
They didn't know that, but now they
didn't
do.
know that.
You don't know what Harrods is, and now
I'm
allow
embarrassed,
me.
yeah.
Allow me to.
Shall I leave? Because I don't know what Harrods is?
Yeah. This is the Harrods.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. Harrods is basically a shop that sells lots of expensive things, basically. Like, imagine like John Lewis, but more expensive.
Yeah. Like,
What?
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Basically, John Lewis, but for designer brands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if John Lewis' name was John Harrods.
Exactly. Yeah. But imagine it 5 times bigger than any John Lewis you've ever been to in your life.
I've never actually
yeah.
been to John Lewis. I know the brand.
Okay, what big shops have you been to before that sells stuff?
Tesco's.
Okay, imagine the Tesco's in
Gonna have to bleep that. Can you redo it?
yeah, sorry. Imagine the Tesco's in your town,
Mm-hmm.
but imagine the same size that it is. Imagine it 5 stories.
Oh my god.
5 stories of that.
The ground floor is bigger as well.
Yeah,
It's like
the
the
ground
size-
floor
or
is
if-
bigger.
It's like the size of a hotel.
If it's not bigger,
It's-
it felt infinitely bigger
It was
because
fucking
you
huge.
were shoulder to shoulder
Oh yeah.
with every single person on that floor.
you say that
because-
you say that's a problem.
It
It sounds
was.
hot.
It was because if you saw
I love
something.
shoulders.
Okay,
Shoulders.
let's say for example, you're grabbing food and
It
you
was
see
fucking
the
packed.
other side of the room. There is a cheese section.
Hector
I
loves
know.
cheese.
Hector loves cheese.
Oh yeah, and
then-
then we fucking lost Leander in the Harrods.
Oh my
Because there
God.
was so many fucking
That's
people.
how busy it was.
Because there was so much cheese.
Let me just explain my version of the story on how I got lost.
Go ahead.
So we're making our way around Harrods. Before we go in, you or I can't remember who it was that said, "Oh, are you sure we want to get food here?" And we were
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, of course we can get food here."
And we were in the perfume section.
Yeah, and then we found our way into the perfume section, and I was thinking, I can smell food. There must be some round this corner as I was exiting the room. And so I just thought, I'm just going to quickly go into this next room, and then I'll turn around and come back. I go into the room, I see the food, I turn around to go back, and all I see is a sea of people. And I can't see you anywhere.
And it is packed. Imagine as physically packed as a shop could be before it becomes like a health risk. Imagine that's how packed it was. It was unfathomably packed. It was almost like you're in a busy club, shoulder to shoulder with people throughout the whole store. And the store is fucking massive. It's the Harrods in London. It's the big one on what street? Close to Oxford and Regent Streets.
Yeah.
It's like near that nice part of London. I can't fucking remember exactly where it was, but it's the big Harrods in London.
Yeah.
If you know wherever it
On
is,
Harrod
you know
Street,
it.
yeah.
Oh, one thing to add to this is that this is the first weekend of December after everyone has gotten paid.
Yeah, so it's the weekend after payday,
Yeah.
just before Christmas. So basically everyone was out doing their Christmas shopping, and the place was fucking packed. There were so many people. We were in the perfume section, and me and Shimon, my girlfriend, are looking at the perfumes with Leander there next to us.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the perfumes, and I told, "Oh, Leander," and he's gone. And we lost Leander for like an hour.
No, it was 45 minutes. It wasn't an hour. But
Oh, I'm so
okay,
so sorry.
when
it
I
was
tell you
45 minutes, Hector. It's not an hour. You're fucking
when
idiot.
I say that I could have been lost for 4 hours easily if I didn't. Well, I did have my phone on me, but for some reason the fucking signal was useless.
Yeah, it was bad in that
So-
building for me as well.
I couldn't ring. I couldn't ring anybody. I couldn't message anybody. And so I was like, I'm a resourceful guy. I can find 2 people in this one building.
No, the
surely.
place is fucking huge.
Okay, I got lost on the second floor because there was so much fucking furniture everywhere. There was sofas, there was chairs, there was lamps, it was basically like I was walking around a mansion.
Yeah.
It actually reminded me of when I went round a friend's house when I was really little, and for some reason he just had a fucking huge house, and I actually got
Who was it?
lost. It was
Don't name him.
Yeah, and his dad flew him in on a helicopter one time.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember actually getting lost in his house, and it was I kind of flashed back to that memory as I was walking around this giant building, and I'm like, have I already walked past
The
this
furniture
room?
was probably similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had loads of different sections up on the second floor, and me and Siobhan actually went up there as well, and we were looking at all of the furniture. A lot of the furniture sets were above 20 grand.
Yeah.
Like, all of the furniture sets in there were like above 20 grand. Like, that room that we went into with the table and the chairs and everything that looked like it was made of China,
Yeah.
that table and chair set was 47 grand.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, the guy we were talking to, he was like, well, you wouldn't want to decorate your entire room, and not just because it would be ridiculous with the kind of style that they were, offering, but the fact that it would just be so expensive to do so.
Yeah. And there was a sofa that we saw. It was like a Fendi sofa. I didn't even know Fendi did furniture. Now I do. I didn't even know, what was that brand that he was there with? It was I didn't even know Fendi did furniture. I thought they just did clothes. But anyway, we finally found you by sending you a message being like, meet us on this floor, by the furniture, by the escalator, by the stairs.
Okay, that wasn't it. See, what really happened was, you sent one message saying you were going to be at this place by this escalator. But the problem was,
There were 2.
the floor was
I
so
didn't
massive.
realise there were 2, because there were actually 2 sets of stairs and escalators.
There was
in
no.
two
There
different
wasn't
places.
2 sets of stairs. There was 4 sets of stairs, 2 sets of escalators.
Jesus Christ.
Because I went up and down loads of them, hoping to bump into you. And that's where all the crowd of people just gathered. But no, you sent me. You sent me a message to say meet up here, and then I met up there, and then I was like, oh, you're not here, and then finally there was one point that we could pinpoint, and it was the central escalator.
Yeah.
And we met up there.
And so then once we'd met up, I was ready to explore the part that I really wanted to go to. Because the main reason why we went to the furniture bit in the first place was, okay, my thinking was, we've lost Leander. What's the best way to get away from all of these fucking people? And I thought, right, there is no way there are this many actually rich people in London. So if we go to the most expensive part of the whole store, it will be empty there, because there is no way all of these people can afford 47 grand sofas. So we went there, and lo and behold, it was completely fucking empty. So that was why we went there in the first place. And so then we found Leander, and we went upstairs to the section that I wanted to go to, which was where the speakers were. So in that Harrods store, there are lots of different speakers, but most importantly, they have lots of audiophile speakers that you can't, I guess, demo in many places, generally, really, because they're all quite expensive. I was actually really, really surprised by the selection that they had. So we went upstairs, and they even had, some of the, Bang & Olufsen, speakers, even the 100 grand Bang & Olufsen speakers, the kind of like weird geomorphic big tall speakers, which, yeah, they look cool. Didn't get to hear what they sound like, but they look cool. They're 100 grand. They probably sound good. And they also have like this big circle speaker, which is basically like a circle on a little stand.
Was that the Bluetooth one?
Yeah. That was, you heard it. It was okay. I wasn't expecting it to be as bassy and powerful as it was. It was actually pretty good for a Bluetooth speaker. But then again, you're paying like £3,200 for it, so you'd expect it to be pretty good. But in my opinion, if you're going to spend £3,000 on some speakers, you'd probably get better ones than that, because it was just a standalone Bluetooth speaker. And what you're going to put that in the living room and get a suboptimal experience for almost £3,500, when you could buy some proper speakers and an amp, sit them in front of your TV, and then you can use those for listening to music properly, and also use it for movies, and use it for everything that Bluetooth Bang & Olufsen speaker can't do. The only thing that the Bang & Olufsen speaker, the circle speaker, could do is be moved easily from room to room or different places around the room.
I think the issue as well is we initially listened to the Bluetooth one first, and I was like, oh wow, this is really nice. But then the moment we moved on to one that was, it was all set up and plugged in, and it like
fucking knocked your socks off compared to the Bluetooth
unreal.
Speaker. I feel like that Bang & Olufsen round speaker is what you would buy if you were insanely rich and you just wanted a good Bluetooth speaker. I feel like that's the market for that kind of speaker. But if you're someone who has like a budget of £3,000 to spend on speakers, you're probably not going to buy that, because there's a lot better that you can buy. And then we moved on to the next speakers that we looked at were some Bowers and Wilkins speakers set up in front of a TV. And we went over there, and then like the salespeople came over, and this guy looked at me and he was like, "You want a demo?" He was like an Indian guy. He was like, "You want a demo?" And there were some other people sitting there, and he was like, "Get the fuck out of here." And the people got the fuck out of there, and they let us sit down in front of the speakers, and they turned them up to full. And yeah, they were fucking loud compared to the Bang & Olufsen speaker. But in defense of the round speaker, those Bowers and Wilkins, that whole setup, the 2 tower speakers and the subwoofer that they had there, are probably like 16 grand, which doesn't compare to a £3,000 Bluetooth speaker. Something
to note though is I just found it hilarious that the salespeople looked at you and thought, yeah, this guy's looking at speakers to buy them. And they hounded, like they all kind of swooped in. You had at one point 4 different salesmen
they all just came
around you, because they really thought that you were going to buy one of these really expensive speakers.
Yeah. I think the only reason they let us use, and this is going to be the pinnacle of the story, which isn't even that much of a pinnacle. The only reason they let us use the sound treated room, I think, was because I asked, okay, how much does the Bowers and Wilkins system cost? He was like 16,000, and I said, oh yeah, that's not too bad. That was the only reason why they probably let us use. That was probably the only reason why they let us use the sound treated room. Because normally you have to, I think normally you have to pay to use the demo, to use a demo room.
Yeah.
In a place like that, you have to pay to use it, but we got to use it for free, which is great.
Yeah. And also something that, if I might interrupt and add, that he said afterwards, right before we left, that he had sold one part of the speaker system already. So I think he felt like he was on a roll.
Yeah.
And he was about to get the best sales day of his life and just sell and just
To be fair, I was actually tempted to actually try and think about if I could buy those speakers, because they were 20% off.
I know, I could see it. I could see the cogs turning.
I was like, could I actually buy these? And I was like, no, probably shouldn't. No. But then so then they led us away from the Bowers and Wilkins setup. Also, what I found funny was as soon as they cranked up the volume for the Bowers and Wilkins system to try and impress us, loads of people started crowding round.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
Yeah, loads of people started crowding round. But anyway, then they took us off to this private room where they had some Kef speakers set up. Now, I don't know how honest he was being, because he said, these are the Kef LS60s, which are the tall ones. But then next to them, if you notice, there were two other speakers, which are the R3 Metas. If he was using all four of the speakers to try and get me to buy the LS60s, then that's kind of cheating. But either way, regardless of whether or not they had all of them going or not, it was still that was really, really good sound quality. And I feel like we should have tried to push it and get them to play as many songs as we could. Yeah. But I also didn't want to listen to 4 songs and then be like, oh, sorry, I don't want to buy anything.
Yeah. And also on top of that, I think we were more there just to feel what the speakers, what they were like, really.
Yeah.
Because, there was a point where he asked, what song do you want to play? And we just kind of all looked at each other and we were like, I don't know. We had no idea.
Yeah.
Because we were, too busy, I think for you, too busy just blown away the fact that they just let us use this demo room just for free.
Yeah. Yeah. I was shocked at the selection of speakers they had. Oh yeah, they even had the Focal, I can't remember what they're called, but actually, those were the next speakers that they showed us. They didn't take us straight to the Bowers and Wilkins speakers. After we listened to the Circle Bang Olufsen speaker, they took us over and there was 2 thick Focal speakers. Again, 120 grand for a pair of those speakers. I was shocked by how many expensive speakers they had just in the fucking store, just there on display. That was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, that soundproofed room, that was when I was like, okay, this is how music could sound if you really had it set up properly. And which is why I think what we'll buy for the living room, we'll have a nice home cinema sort of setup with a nice TV, maybe 60 or 65 inch sort of TV. See if we can get an OLED TV, but they're 1.5 grand, which I don't know if OLED is worth it. I don't know. I haven't ever seen an OLED TV, I don't think, or I don't know if it's worth it or not. Maybe we could get an OLED TV, but at least for sure what I want to get are the Kef speakers. I won't get those ones that we saw that are 4.5 grand. I'll get the slightly smaller ones, which are 1,300.
Something you said definitely rings true is that when you're in that price range of speakers, you can't buy them without having tested them first.
If you don't know what the fuck they sound like. Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how many videos of other people, professionals, their opinions. Doesn't really matter when it's compared to yours because you're the one buying them. Yeah,
and often on those videos you always get a bit where they record it with a microphone, and I sit there listening to it on the YouTube video thinking, that's not what the speaker sounds like.
Yeah.
Because that's what my shitty headphones sound like. Yeah. What is the fucking point of playing those speakers through a microphone? Ultimately, that sound is going to be played through the user's headphones or speakers. What a dumb.
The
what a
only
dumb
value
fucking thing
that
to do.
brings is maybe if you had really expensive headphones,
Or
you'd be able to pick up the bass.
yeah, or it would show you how bassy or how trebly they are.
Exactly, yeah.
It wouldn't tell you how good they are, but it would tell you like if they were like really heavy in bass, you'd still be able to hear that on your headphones because
Yeah.
you'd notice that like it's more bass than treble or whatever.
Mm.
But yeah. Yeah, and are we ready to segue into Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Alright, let's get into Doctor Who. So, we today did watch... Well, we watched actually 2 episodes. We rewatched the previous episode, which we talked about on the previous podcast episode.
For my benefit.
For Leander's
Thank you.
benefit, yeah. Which I think is one of the best... Well, this isn't really something that should come from me because I haven't watched all of the Doctor Who episodes since the David Tennant series, but I've watched some of them, and I haven't watched Doctor Who in ages. But watching the second episode of what's recently come out is like a massive booster of nostalgia because yeah, it was almost just like I'm back in my room. Or, back on the sofa watching David Tennant, 10 years ago. How long ago was that? More than 10 years ago?
2008.
2000, that's more than 10 years ago. That is 15 fucking years ago. Holy shit.
Damn.
Wow.
2008 was 15. Yeah, it was.
Wow. Okay, yeah, so 15 years ago was when I was watching David Tennant. But we've still got the box sets and I've rewatched them a couple of times. But yeah, it is definitely reminiscent of Midnight. Yeah, Midnight, the Midnight episode with David Tennant, which I loved. I loved that one a lot.
It's my favourite episode.
Yeah. But the one that we watched after that was one that neither me nor Leander had watched. Bradley, you've already watched it, so I guess you rewatched it today. But Bradley, are you alive?
That was.
Are you gonna make it through this podcast?
Yeah, that would have. That would have been my 4th time watching it.
Yeah.
I'd watched it. I'd watched it 3 times before. I watched it twice on the day it came out, and then once leading, and then once after, and then I just watched it a 4th time. So I've seen it 4.
Precast for everyone. Bradley is drunk.
Considerably.
But continuing, what did I think? I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was that bad. I was on.
I'm not that drunk.
He's not that drunk.
He is, in fact, not that drunk.
No. I didn't think that episode was that good. I didn't think it was that good.
Is this the 3rd we're talking
Yeah,
about?
the 3rd.
Yeah,
the second
third.
we've already talked about on the podcast.
Well, I think because we watched it back to back off of the 2nd episode, it might be warped by the fact that obviously all 3 of us enjoyed the 2nd considerably more than the 3rd. But
Yeah.
that being said, I still really enjoyed it.
So what happens? So we see that how does it start?
Chaos.
It
yes.
starts with that, but then how do they go back in time? How do we cut back? Does it just hard cut to 1920 and we're seeing the dude?
The cold.
It was done in a flashback style, so
Cold open. Toy maker. We don't know it's the toy maker yet, but I did.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It was. Yeah. It was. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It was cold open. It was like a flashback.
We the fans obviously know it's the toy maker, but the general audience wouldn't. So it just seems like a random guy who owns a shop, and fucking Charlie comes in. His name's Charlie, to buy
a doll.
to buy Stooky Bill, and And Neil Patrick Harris is speaking in his weird German accent. There's a reason for that, and I can get into that. But then he buys it, and the cold open is the beginning of television, because Stooky Bill in real life was the first person, the first thing televised, and it's a recording of Stooky Bill, and he's on fire, and the guy who created it, John Logie Beard? John Logie Baird?
What?
The guy who created the television, they name him.
Oh, shit.
John Logie something.
I don't fucking know.
I
can't remember.
It's so close to John Logie Baird. I think it could even be that. But he's like, there's some changed history. And we see Stooky Bill, and we hear the toy makers giggle, and that's the end of the cold open. And you, Hector, at the end of the cold open were like,
eh. And I was like, meh, cause meh. But then again, going back on that, I mean, the previous opening was also meh, but that turned out to be one of my favourites, so who cares about the opening, right? Because actually, also in the previous one, the opening had nothing to do with the rest of the story for the episode at all. It was just Indian Isaac Newton, and that had almost no bearing at all on the rest of the episode apart from a couple of quips.
Mavity.
The Mavity quip. So again, in this one, I thought meh, but then I thought, okay, well, actually this could potentially have absolutely nothing to do with the story at all. So, then I'm just waiting to see how the story unfolds.
Turned out to be incredibly relevant.
It turned out to be incredibly relevant, actually. Yeah, it was very relevant to the story. Yeah, and so then, basically, the toy maker has, I guess, created this toy, sold it to the guys that were inventing the television, and this doll makes a laugh, a cackle, a ha 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 ha.
You could almost say a giggle.
You could almost say a giggle. That gets broadcasted onto the first ever piece of television, and it gets somehow ingrained onto all of the screens ever, which to me is kind of a dumb idea, but I guess it's magical and whimsical, so it works that way somehow. Even devices that have potentially never played a single piece of media ever, somehow.
The concept of screens.
Yeah, the concept of screens. Which to me is just fucking dumb, but whatever. It's magical and whimsical, because in that case you could say, it's a dumb concept, but this guy is basically like a god. So in that case, sure. It's on all screens. That's fine. He's basically a god. He can make whatever he wants. And at first, my first thoughts were, this seems kind of un-Doctor Who-ish. This doesn't seem like the sort of story like that I would have expected to be a Doctor Who story.
What part?
Because it seems kind of like more fantasy. It seemed more fantasy than science fiction, because you've got this guy who's like basically defying the laws of physics or whatever, defying the laws of the universe. So it kind of came across as more of like a fantasy sort of, like a fantasy than a science fiction. Would you agree? Because I mean, because you've got this guy who's the toy maker, and like
he can turn bullets into flowers.
He can turn bullets into flowers. That makes no sense at all in our universe. Not even in his own universe. He's doing it now in our universe, which to me is like, and there's no explanation for that. They don't give an explanation for how he's able to do that in our universe. The Doctor even just says, oh no, the woman is like, so what, he's able to manipulate all of the atoms? Or no, is it the Doctor that says that? The Doctor says, what, you want me to tell you that he just manipulates all of the atoms? And she's like, yeah. And then he's like, it's not even that. And so like what? So like how is it actually isn't explained how he's able to like manipulate basically mass
basically
and the universe.
What we're told is that through his thoughts and his thoughts alone, he can change
anything,
anatomical structures.
Well, no, that's
of things.
That's just the way the Doctor like dumbed it down for sure.
Yeah.
So the idea of the toy maker, because that's not what he's about. The idea of the toy maker is that he is a god. He's an eternal. And we've not met many Eternals in Doctor Who. The last one we met was, I don't even remember the fucker's name, but it was in season 12, episode 7. Can you hear me? And he is. The Eternals, and especially the Toymaker, there's, in the canon of the universe, they're some of the most powerful beings ever. You know, they exist outside of the universe. The Toymaker has the Toy Room, which is his own separate dimension outside of the universe, which is what
they entered into.
Yeah, they entered into that, and his first serial, in season 3, The Celestial Toymaker, that serial was entirely set in his domain. But you can say that you didn't expect it from Doctor Who, that it's more fantasy than sci-fi, but you've got to remember that this was stuff they were dealing with in 1966 in season 3. You know, this is part of the framework of the show. It's not just sci-fi. It can be fantastical. It can be magical. Magic exists in Doctor Who. It has for a while. It's just that magic often comes with logic. The Toymaker defies that logic, which the Doctor also says. He says that, you know, the laws he knows are proven wrong around the Toymaker. That's very true, because he creates his own rules. You know, he's an Eternal, and I do understand how you can consider the idea of someone like the Toymaker to be very un-Doctor Who. Yeah. Doctor Who, it's like Donna said, you know, you got the Ood, you got the Daleks who have plans with logic. The Toymaker doesn't have a plan. He's not even really evil. He just wants to play his games and win. He doesn't have an evil plan. He doesn't want to destroy the world, really. He's just kind of causing mischief, you know? And we've seen something similar to that. In the Sarah Jane Adventures, we have the Trickster. The Trickster's very Toymaker-ish, except he has an agenda. He wants to create chaos, specifically.
I suppose the part for me that seemed kind of un-Doctor Who-ish wasn't necessarily that his agenda had no logic. It was more the, I guess the elements of the episodes. Like, they go into this weird, magical, infinite, the toy room, right? Where they're attacked by dolls or whatever. And then they come out of that. And okay, while they're inside there, I think sure, okay, maybe it's an encapsulated universe that's separate. It doesn't abide by the laws of physics in our universe. And, you know, it's a separate entity inside this little box. Sure. But then we come back into the normal universe and he's able to fold up a house, do like those sorts of things I wouldn't have expected to see happening in Doctor Who, where most of the time everything is very grounded and, like, you know, scientific, and or especially all of the things in the David Tennant era, like all of the episodes, like, you know, with the library where, you know, all ghosts killing people. No, it's not ghosts. It's this Vasta Narada, you know, all of them, even on Midnight, you know, it's not like it's magical. It's, you know, it's scientific and grounded. That's why, for me, the episode seems kind of almost un-Doctor Who.
Yeah, but that's the idea of that is what makes the Toymaker such a formidable foe, you know? Because I do get what you're saying, like, but they make a point of that in the episode. The Toymaker used to exist in his own separate dimension, but he's fallen into this reality and he still has his powers. That's something that terrifies the Doctor. That, as silly as it is, that Spice Girl scene really demonstrates that really effectively when he turns those guys into balls.
Yeah, which is horrifying.
It's a horrifying reality, but that's the idea of the Toymaker. When we first met him, it was his own separate thing. They fell into the toy room. The toy room, for what we knew at the end of that serial, fucking exploded into fucking a million pieces, was never to be seen again. We didn't know if the Toymaker was still alive. So the idea that he's come to this reality still possessing his incredible godlike powers is a terrifying concept, but that's what makes the Toymaker so formidable. Otherwise he would just be a schmuck, you know? There's a reason the Doctor, when he first realises who it is like, Donna, go back to the TARDIS. The Toymaker's terrifying to the Doctor. He is. That's a terrifying concept. Someone that completely destroys your idea of logic at whim. That's what he is. I don't know, we've not had a villain since the Toymaker quite like the Toymaker.
Well, so far from what I've seen, the Toymaker is the most powerful villain I've ever seen on Doctor Who.
He is. And he always has been. Which I think is why the show's been really scared to bring him back. Again, season 3, his first appearance, his only appearance. Season 3, 1966, they've had plenty of chances to bring him back. They brought back the Sea Devils before they brought back the Toymaker. But there's a reason you don't, and that's because it's almost like dealing with it's almost like an Avengers level threat. You can't have too many Avengers movies because it waters it down. When you have too many episodes of something like the Toymaker, who gives a shit if he's facing the Daleks this week? Like, who gives a shit? He's just faced a man who turned a man into a bubble.
People are shooting at him and all the bullets are just turning into flowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a reason why something like the Toymaker has to be scarce, has to be rare. And it's because it completely defies the logic of the show. But that's the point. So I understand you being like, oh, it's less sci-fi, it's more fantasy. I agree. But that's what makes it scary in the show. We've gone out of the sci-fi realm. There's no explanation. It's just,
I suppose it's good placement because it does come just after what you could consider to be the outer bounds of
an incredibly sci-fi episode.
No, what I mean is we've just come from an episode where the threat is literally the outer bounds of the laws
universe.
Of physics.
Yeah.
Right? That's like the maximum extent of what the laws of physics could a creature that is able to take any form with ease, but is still somewhat grounded, right? Is still somewhat grounded. It's not fantasy. That wasn't a fantasy villain. It was still a sci-fi villain.
Yeah.
But so to go from that to this, I'd say, that kind of makes sense because you've gone from an episode where the villain is to the extreme of the most insane sci-fi villain you could probably do, right? Because that was pretty existential and weird and trippy.
It's incredibly sci-fi. Yeah.
To go to this. So for me, very un-Doctor Who, or not un-Doctor Who, just very not the sort of thing that I'd expect to see. Not the sort of vibes or villain type that I'd expect to see.
Yeah, but it's weird, isn't it weird to think about the fact that you can say that, and in a way you are right, but the Toymaker is older than the Cybermen. The Toymaker, again, it's a big reason why they haven't brought him back. They were going to bring him back in season 22, I think. Yeah, season 22 before it was rewritten completely. But you can't have a Toymaker be like the Master. You can't have a character like that appear more often. For two reasons. One, it just destroys the logic. But two, the more they appear, the less threatening they become.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't even think of an example. I can't think of a character quite like the Toymaker, where it is just a god. Yeah. Not like a Loki god, where he's just strong. No, an
literally
actual god.
Yeah. Can do anything with all kinds of matter and mass.
The only reason the Toymaker hasn't completely just destroyed the universe with a click of his fingers is because he doesn't want to. He doesn't care enough to. That's it. The Doctor wouldn't be able to stop him if he really wanted to just destroy everything. The only reason he hasn't is because he doesn't care. Terrifying concept.
He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He only cares about winning his games.
Yeah, and you can't have a character like that appear too often. It would, because eventually, the Toymaker's omnipowerful, omnipresent, omnibeatable. It's been beaten 6 times. No one would give a shit. The idea that, when he appears in this episode 57 years later, the Doctor's like, I beat you once when I was the first Doctor. Yeah. 14 faces ago. It's like,
to be fair, maybe it's a nice, because I feel like, especially with all of the recent new additions to Doctor Who, they're exploring a lot of new stuff in Doctor Who.
I like the fact that, I liked it and I disliked it. I like the fact that the Toymaker hints that he's responsible for all of that, where he's like, I made a jigsaw out of your history, Doctor. Did you like it? He could have been responsible for the Timeless Child stuff and, the idea that Doctor's half human, which came with the 8th Doctor and his own trials. He could be responsible for that. I don't like the fact that he isn't responsible for Tennant's face coming back. Because, even though it wasn't officially announced, I knew from the power of the Doctor that the Toymaker was coming back. As soon as Neil Patrick Harris appeared and we got a promo picture of him in a very obvious inventor costume in a toy room, surrounded by toys. I was like, yeah, it's probably the toy maker, isn't it? So the fact, it wasn't a surprise to me to learn that the toy maker was coming back. And when Tennant came back, I was like, okay, this is obviously a part of the toy maker's plan. And then it just wasn't. That fucked me off. I was like, what do you mean? That was the whole thing. That's for 3 episodes now. He's been like, why has my face come back? I thought it was the toy maker, but no, it's just back, I guess.
It was back, so no, they did kind of explain it. Your face came back so we could have a rest.
It was a shit explanation.
So we could have a relax, yeah. But on the basis of shit, there were a couple of things that I didn't really like about the episode. Or not necessarily about the episode, but just in general. I think since the first episode that's come out, is this the new season?
No.
What is this the new?
It's just a 60th anniversary special.
Right. Okay. Since the latest, the first one of this era, it's been obvious that there is a lot of modern woke things inserted into it, right?
I think I know what you're going to say.
Right.
And to an extent, I agree. I think having the toy maker, a being who is without logic, being like, the ghosting and the cancel culture.
Not even just that. That doesn't that is cringe. But the part that I find really contradictory from the perspective of whoever wrote this, whoever directed this, the person who's inserted all of this kind of very I don't want to use the word woke. I hate the word woke, but very inclusive. Yeah. Who's inserted a lot of very inclusive stuff, which isn't bad. I don't think there's anything wrong with making films more inclusive. I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily. However, when you're forcefully and weirdly putting stuff into it, then when it's noticeable, then I start to think, well, you've obviously just done that for the sake of inclusivity, which then, in my opinion, that kind of defeats the purpose of inclusivity.
Yeah. No,
because you should be being inclusive naturally. If you're forcefully doing it, then that kind of defeats the purpose.
Okay, so what aspects are you talking about? Yeah.
What I'm talking about is having all of this inclusivity and sort of wokeness in, but then at the same time having kind of mildly offensive.
But okay, if that's what you're talking about, I can explain that. But what elements of inclusivity are you talking about?
So, including trans people, including, references to the hate that trans people get.
No. In this episode.
Oh, in this episode specifically?
Yeah.
Wait, why this one specifically?
Because that's the one we're talking about.
Well, no, I'm talking about all of it since the first one is what I said.
Okay, so you're talking about the trilogy.
Since the first one, the whole lot in general. Obviously, obviously, they're focusing a lot on inclusivity.
But you're bringing up the fact that the toy maker is doing accents and shit.
I mean, yeah. Imagine if there was a character who was mimicking trans people or mimicking a gay guy putting on a gay accent. You wouldn't see that shit.
Well, I can explain why they've done that. It's because the season 3 episode with the toy maker, the celestial toy maker, straight up just is racist. It's a very racist episode. The toy maker is dressed as a Chinese guy. He's not doing yellow face, thankfully. But he is dressed in traditional Chinese garb. Even the word celestial, well, nowadays it kind of sounds like alien word. It used to just refer to Chinese people.
Oh.
Yeah. And not only that, but it's fun fact. And this isn't a part of it. I just think it's funny. It's the only episode of Doctor Who ever to just straight up include the N-word.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was the 60s. It's a different time. But Russell was talking about it on Unleashed. He was like, okay, if we're going to bring the toy maker back, we don't want him to be impersonating a Chinese man. That's a bit too far. But unfortunately,
he'll impersonate a German person.
Well, not that, but unfortunately, the racism is kind of a part of his character. And the reason for that is because he isn't mocking a race. He's mocking humanity as a whole. So he thought the best way of representing that was for him to, even though the German accent is the main one, he's also impersonating French people. He's also impersonating an American at one point. He's even British. That's probably not his real voice, He's probably just impersonating that too. All the accents he does are him not mocking German and French people, mocking humanity as a whole.
Well, no, just mocking Germans, French, and English people.
Yeah, in the real world, yes, but in the context of the show, it's him just mocking humanity.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, in that sense, like, the choice
Because the toy maker's racist, he is.
I know, but only racist to those 3 countries. Like, yeah. Like, I don't know. To me, the whole thing seems, like, weird and contradictory.
I will say, it is hypocritical to do that when fucking 5 weeks earlier, Russell was talking about, oh, we can't have Davos in a wheelchair.
And then makes the villain German.
Yeah.
Like, he's primarily doing a German accent throughout the whole thing.
Are you not pleased, Herr Doctor?
Yeah, doing a terrible German accent. Like, it's contradictory.
But it's also supposed to be terrible. He's not a German man.
I know,
You know?
I know that.
It's
but
someone doing an accent in the context of the show.
I know that. It's still, in my opinion, it is still pretty contradictory on the part of whoever wrote this.
Russell.
On the part of whoever wrote this is still pretty
Russell.
contradictory.
Stop saying whoever wrote. I'm telling you
Russell?
who wrote it. Russell T. Davies.
This is contradictory. So like, and then like, yeah, I don't know, the Indian Isaac Newton, in the way that you described it, yeah, that's not cringe. If it is in the way that I described it, very cringe.
Alright, to explain that. So, last episode I was like, because Hector was like, do you think they auditioned only Indian people for the role? And I was like, no, I reckon...
In the context of like, you know, they're thinking, okay, we want a little bit at the beginning. I know. What if we get an Indian person to be Isaac Newton?
Yeah.
That's inclusive. That's blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
that's what Hector...
Doing it in that context is really cringe.
That's what Hector proposed. And I was like, well, no, I reckon Russell just really wanted to work with the actor. I did some digging. I'm right, as always. It turns out that Russell worked with this actor in a show called Years and Years that he wrote. So he just really wanted to work with the actor again. So he just cast him in a little bit role. So I was right. Again.
The only part of that is weird is that they chose Isaac Newton.
At the same time, though, it could be a case where, like, because this was filmed ages ago. This was filmed in, like, fucking mid-2020.
Yeah.
And season 13, 14 even, the new season, Shoot Out the season, wasn't filmed until a bit after. So it really could just be a case of, well, we don't know when we're going to film again. We do only have limited characters. I mean, the second episode as a whole only features David Tennant and fucking Catherine Tate, really. There's not really many people he could play. So we've written a bit with Isaac Newton. Just fucking cast him in that. Who gives a shit? It's Doctor Who. This isn't the real universe, you know. I don't know. I don't hate that. I don't care about that enough.
To me, it seemed a little bit weird, but not that weird. The weirdest parts of all the like seemingly forcefully inserted quote unquote inclusive bits throughout Doctor Who, in my opinion, were definitely the ones in the first episode. Obviously, so there are a lot of really weird, forcefully inclusive bits. The whole series of shots where you've got Donna saying binary, 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 and then a shot of the, what is her name? Rose's face. Just massive shot of Rose's face on the screen. Non-binary. Fades out. Back to Donna saying binary. That shit is fucking cringe. That is cringe. And then the fucking shot of them being like, we women can do something that you can't. Let it go.
Presenting Time Lord couldn't dream of.
And then they just let go of the Time Lord energy, whatever. Like, yeah, there have been a lot of weirdly, obviously put in at the last minute inclusive bits, like inserted into the story, and it's obvious that they've been just inserted in. And those are the parts that I think are kind of cringe. I can't think of any parts that was in the third one. Not really. None that stood out to me, really. Yeah. Not even really in the second one. Because there's that bit where the captain is floating around and she's like,
I will say,
I'm not done. The captain
he's not done.
The captain is floating around. Yeah. And Donna's like, she, he, them, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. It's literally just a skeleton. You don't fucking know who it is. But then the Doctor immediately knows what sex the captain was somehow. Maybe from there, yeah, like you said, like the bone structure or something.
I was gonna say, I wonder if the toy maker was the reason for there being 2 Doctors. Because it hasn't been explained.
why there's two doctors.
Why there's
Yeah.
two doctors.
It hasn't been explained why. Yeah, no, I'm not going to keep ranting on about the women because that's just sexist. But yeah, there were a lot of things that weren't explained in these 3 episodes, including, I mean, for me, someone who didn't see the 1960s episode, for me, it was never really properly explained how this guy was just able to basically be God. Essentially, that wasn't really explained in the episode. While these 3 episodes have been good, definitely the best has been the second. The 3 of them in general, I wouldn't rate them that highly, apart from being a nostalgia booster for the fact that David Tennant and Donna are in them, for me personally.
Well, first of all, no, the toy maker isn't responsible for the bi-generation. Because, you know, Shuigawa's doctor says that it was a myth. The only thing, because I agree, alright, for the audience, when I first watched this, I hated it. I straight up hated the bi-generation. I knew it was coming, it'd been leaked ages ago. I fucking hated it. I've grown to be okay with it. My headcanon, because this 14th Doctor, it hasn't been alive for long. He's been alive for like fucking 12 hours. Like, because all of the stories just run into each other. You know, he's not been alive long. So my headcanon is that it's because of that. It's established in Tennant's first episode, The Christmas Invasion, actually. That, within the first 15 hours of a regeneration cycle, they're still, like, pumped full of energy, which is why he gets his hand cut off and he's able to grow a new one. So my personal headcanon is that because he died within the first 15 hours of that and he was still pumped full of regeneration energy from his last regeneration, it just kind of triggered it. The Toymaker definitely had nothing to do with it, though. Even he was surprised. The reason I hated it so much is because, to me, and it's kind of said in the episode, even the Shuigawa's doctor's like, the doctor that fought the Toymaker never stopped. And to me, that was kind of like, well, he's right in a way. He isn't that doctor. David Tennant's that doctor. David Tennant's the doctor we've been following for 60 years. And Shuigawa was like a new guy. To me, it almost felt like a fucking clone situation. What turned me around was in rewatches the line where Shuigawa's doctor's like, you know, David Tennant's like, well, you're okay. And he's like, I'm okay because you will be. We're Time Lords. We're doing rehab in the wrong order. So my headcanon is that Shuigawa's doctor does come after David Tennant. But what's going to happen is that they exist together for a while. Eventually, David Tennant will grow old and die or regenerate. And at the moment of regeneration, he's going to essentially just be dragged back to that regeneration in the Giggle and be Shuigawa. That's my personal headcanon. Also doesn't work, but it kind of does. The reason that headcanon is a bit faulty is because Shuigawa, like, figures things out in front of David Tennant. That shouldn't work. David Tennant's doctor should remember it. Except multi-doctor episodes have established that when a past doctor meets a future doctor, they get, you know, they're out of sync. They don't retain those memories. But that also doesn't work because if he didn't retain the memory, why is he staying? Why would he stay with the Nobles? He had that conversation and that realization with Shuigawa's doctor. They definitely remember it. So the headcanon is faulty. There's a flaw in the plan. But it's kind of the only way I could justify it to myself without... Because either way, I don't hate Shuigawa at all. As in, like, I really like him in this episode. I actually really like his energy. I think he's going to be a fucking great doctor. But... And I hate the fact that I felt it, but when I first watched it, I was kind of like, this isn't the doctor, really. Like, the fact that they've done this means this isn't really the doctor. It's like he might as well be the doctor's son. Like, the doctor might as well have asexually reproduced. It's like the doctor's son at this point. But with that headcanon, I can accept it. Now, again, in terms of why he has this power, it's because the Toymaker isn't from our universe, man. The laws of physics don't apply to him, you know? He's got his own separate thing going on. It's like David Tennant's doctor said. The only rules he follows are the rules of the games. He doesn't follow the rules of the universe. It's not his universe.
Yeah, but our universe's laws of physics would still apply. So for him to do all of those things, he would need to break the laws of physics of this universe.
Yeah, but he's not from this universe. Who says that our laws of physics would still apply to him?
It doesn't need to apply to him, it just applies in the universe. Yeah, atoms like can't just magically turn into flowers.
Why not?
because the laws of physics in this universe say so. It says that atom cannot turn into something.
Yes, but he can defy that.
Yeah, but if he's defying it, he's not the atom.
No, but he has the power to change that.
Yeah, but that means he's breaking the laws of physics of this universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but again, they say it in the episode. It doesn't make sense. That's why he's terrifying.
Yeah.
He's someone who can do that.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't
He's a god.
work. Yeah, to me, it doesn't
He's an
work.
eternal. I get, look, don't get me wrong, 100% it's way more fantasy than sci-fi. But I'm fine with that. Doctor Who has delved into it. The next episode's about fucking goblins.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That is like, it's like fantasy. At that point, Bradley, watch Lord of the Rings. Because this is basically Lord of the Rings now.
It's not, look,
You got goblins.
I do think
right.
a creature like that who can defy the laws of physics does still work in sci-fi, because it's almost as if it's sci-fi self-reflecting. What does it mean to be science fiction when you take the science out of the fiction? When the science doesn't apply? That's
in the fiction.
It's meta, but that still is a really good analysis of science fiction. I can think of sci-fi films that are like that. I think a really good example is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like
what is the definition of science fiction?
The definition of science fiction is pretty much exactly what you're saying. Is fiction that is based in scientific fact.
Right.
Like spaceships, like aliens and stuff. Like Ghosts isn't sci-fi. That's just like horror or paranormal.
So then the toy maker isn't sci-fi then?
No.
Yeah.
The toy maker's not sci-fi, but the universe's reaction to the toy maker is.
Also not sci-fi.
No, it is sci-fi.
Because it couldn't be scientifically proven, therefore it can't be sci-fi.
Yeah, but again, the toy maker's not sci-fi. The Doctor's reaction to the toy maker is.
Okay, I see
you've
that.
got a creature who can defy the science in science fiction, and you've got a character who recognises that and is terrified of that.
Yeah, okay,
the
that
concept
part,
of
yeah.
that is very sci-fi.
Yeah.
You know, if the only way it would go into full fantasy is if the toy maker was introduced and everyone was like, well, duh. Obviously. Like, no, the Doctor's fucking terrified. He can't explain it. Just the fact that the Doctor's having that reaction keeps it grounded in the sci-fi element. To me, at least.
Maybe.
You
Yeah.
can disagree.
No.
No, actually, there's another example that Doctor Who did of that, where the Doctor meets Robin Hood. And the entire episode, the Doctor's like, Robin Hood can't exist. It's a story. It was written by a man. We can go and visit that man. Robin Hood isn't real. And at the end of the episode, Robin Hood's just like, maybe I am a myth, Doctor. Maybe you're a myth. Maybe we're all stories. That keeps it grounded, because even the Doctor at the end is like, well, it doesn't make sense, but I don't make sense. I'm a weird alien guy, you know, and they do that in this too, you know, where the Doctor makes like, you know full well that this is just a face with, you know, a vessel of endless imagination and construct behind it. And the Doctor's like, well, you know full well that I've had many faces hiding behind. Like, the Doctor recognises like, yeah, this is absurd, but my life is absurd. I'm also absurd. That keeps it grounded for me,
No.
you know? And again, the Toymaker's a concept that's older than the Cybermen. Season 3. The Daleks were introduced in season 1. The Toymaker is almost as old as the Daleks. Like, Doctor Who has just delved into that before. There's a second Doctor story called The Mind Robber, where they fall into the land of fiction, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a land of fiction. They're seeing fictional things. Halfway through that story, the Doctor's companion gets taken and just returns as a new guy because the Doctor he gets given a puzzle with a load of wrong pieces of the companion and he puts it together wrong. And then the companion's just a different guy. And he bumps into another companion, Zoe, and Zoe's like, who's this? This is Jamie now. Accept it. And that gets fixed by the end. But if that didn't get fixed, that would just be Jamie now. And while that's a fantastical concept, it's grounded in the sci-fi because the Doctor's like, yeah, this is Jamie now. That's weird. You know?
To be fair, if they made Doctor Who more fantasy-esque in the upcoming series,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with that necessarily.
And
I think exploration of new concepts is good.
Yeah.
Things shouldn't just stay the same all the time. As much as everyone wants everything to stay the same forever because they like it that way, things should change and explore, like, you know, new ways of doing things. So if Doctor Who becomes more fantasy-esque and changes its, like, you know, dynamic, then that's...
But can you
that's
admit
fine.
how hilarious it is that you've come to that realization because of a concept that's existed since season 3 of the classic series?
True, but I think...
It's always been a part of it, technically.
True, but think about how long Doctor Who's been going for. It's been going for tens and tens and tens of years, right?
It's 6 of those 10. 6
Yeah,
years,
exactly.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, it hasn't remained the same, exactly the same in all those 60 years. So, there's no reason why it should continue to stay the same as it has been in David Tennant, Christopher Eccleston, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, switch it up.
Yeah.
Switch it up, make it different, make it fresh. There's no harm in doing that. Otherwise, it's just going to stay the same forever. And I don't know. I mean,
No, I don't
you know,
want that
maybe
either.
that's good, maybe that's bad, but I don't think there's any harm in exploring slightly different variations of the genre that it's in.
I mean,
Because I would say that this is a variation of the genre.
no, I can agree with that. And personally, I've always, you know, because, you know, I've known about the idea of the toy maker for fucking years and years and years. You know, I love the idea of it. I love the idea of a character who just defies all of that. Like, in that season 12 episode I was talking about where we meet another Eternal who's nowhere near as powerful as the toy maker. But they name dropped the toy maker in that episode, and I was like, fuck, man. Like, god damn, it would be so cool to see him again. I love the idea of it, you know, which makes me kind of sad. Because, by the way, spoiler alert for the audience, this episode is not great. It's like a 5 or 6 out of 10 to me. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah,
it's
5 out of 10.
Yeah, it's. I'm being generous with a 6. The toy maker's not used well in this episode,
No.
in my opinion. They hype him up as a huge threat, but and by the way, I have no problem with the fact that he's
He
defeated.
gets very little screen time.
Exactly. I've the fact that he's defeated in a game of catch. That's the toy maker. No problem with that. The idea of him is that he's a god who can be beaten with a child's game because that's what he enjoys. That's the rules he follows. Fine with that. Beat him in a game of catch. But yeah, as you just said, he really actually doesn't do much. Like the fact that the idea that the toy maker needed a satellite in order to put the puppet into the minds of the... No, he doesn't. What was that shit about the satellite? I hate that. I hate the fact that,
He shouldn't have needed anything if he's a fucking god.
and the reason we
turn
have this
bullets into petals.
we need this galvanization ray in order to destroy this satellite, in order to break the toy maker's power. No, you don't. The toy maker needed television to put the toy... No, he didn't. What are you talking about? It's the toy maker. The toy maker should be able to click his fingers and boom, everyone has the image of that. Everyone's a puppet. Forget the image. Everyone is a puppet.
The only
everyone's a
reasoning,
drum.
the only reasoning I
Everyone's
can
a drum.
get behind him doing that is maybe he
to make it more
wanted
fair,
to-
like a game.
yeah, or to set it up like a game, and he wanted there to be a good setup.
No, I can
That's
tell you now.
only-
The only reason that satellite story was, I know you, Russell. I know what you're thinking. The only reason that satellite story's there is so there's a reason for the ray to be there, the galvanization ray, and the galvanization ray needs to be there so that the toy maker has a big weapon at the end that he can destroy. He can kill the Doctor with, and then he can fight that's it. That's the reason for it. I know you, Russell. Don't even try and deny it. I know that's the only reason for this satellite storyline. We need something. We need a reason for this big weapon to be there. What if it needs to destroy a big thing? What if it needs to destroy a satellite? Why is a satellite there? Well, maybe the toy maker needs a satellite. Blah, 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 blah. Dumb. Hated that. By the end of the episode, I was like, fuck off with that satellite. Fuck you, the Cato satellite. I don't give a shit about you.
Makes
dumb.
no sense if he can do anything.
It's dumb. It really is. It just, yeah, he wasn't used well. I had so much higher expectations for the return of the fucking toy maker. The toy maker, man. Again, I was talking to Leander about this earlier.
Actually, the coolest shot was one of the first, not the first, sorry, but was one of the earliest shots of him where they were in his dimension.
It's the puppet
and
strings.
it's like he's in the sky
Yeah.
with the puppet strings. That was the coolest shot.
That should have been, the entire episode should have been like that little sequence where they're in the toy room.
Yeah.
And that's what I was expecting, where the Doctor is running into the Charlie puppet. The man's called Charlie. He's become a puppet.
Yeah.
And then Donna finds, Suki Sue's or whatever her name is, which, by the way, fucking amazing scene where it's her versus the little puppet woman and the little puppet babbies. Spooky babbies. Fucking amazing scene. That should have been the entire episode. The fact that they decided, oh no, bring it to 2023 and introduce a satellite, blah, blah, blah. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not what the toy maker's about. The idea should be that he's come into this reality, he's set up the toy room, the toy store, in order to lure people in to play his games, and they're all losing. Maybe forget the giggle. I don't even care. I don't like the giggle. I don't like the spooky bullshit. Save that for a different thing. Just the Doctor discovers a lot of missing people around this part. Maybe because he's taken Donna back home. Maybe he takes her back home and he sees in the newspaper that there's been loads of missing people, and he just decides, you know what, on a whim, that's even better in my opinion. On a whim, he's just like, well, I should probably investigate that. I might as well. I'm here. And then he finds it's actually the fucking toy maker. That's like a huge shock. That would be amazing. Imagine how terrified he would be. Like, I was investigating something that I thought would be small on a whim, and it turns out to actually be the biggest threat I've ever faced in my entire life. Like, that would be awesome. Forget the giggle. I hate the giggle.
Yeah. It was like they tried to redo the fucking Wire.
Yeah.
It was almost like they tried
I
to
kind of get what you
redo
mean.
the Wire.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And another thing I hated in it is the fact that it was what the Doctor did in Wild Beyonder with the fucking salt. What? Oh yeah, I invoked a superstition at the edge of the universe. Dude, the flux just happened. Half the universe was destroyed. Have that be what did it. Have that be something that like tears a hole in the fabric of the universe and the Toymaker slips through. It was the salt? Dumb. Really dumb. Oh yeah, I invoked a superstition at the edge of the universe. Oh, zombies, vampires and ghouls can't cross this line of salt. That's what did it? Dumb. Really, really dumb. The flux that was last season. They talk about the flux like it was ages ago. That was 2021. Very recent thing. Just have it be the flux, Ross. The salt is dumb. Hated that. As soon as he referenced that, I was like, oh, fuck off. Dumb. Honestly, just make it a whim. Make it a coincidence. That's way more terrifying.
It makes it even more cringe that in the second episode, he's like, I invoked a superstition at the edge of the universe. I shouldn't have done that. That's going to have repercussions. And then in the next episode, he's like, oh no, the salt.
Yeah.
Like, that's cringe.
And it's also cringe that, like, in the end of the second episode, the Doctor's in the TARDIS with Donna, and he's like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that salt thing. And then in the third episode, he's standing with Unit before he knows the Toymaker's back, and he's like, I have a memory. Something from long ago is coming. Do you or do you not know? And even in that speech, he references it. He's like, someone playing with the human race like toys. Do you or do you not know that it was the Toymaker? Because when you see him, you're terrified and you're immediately like, Donna, go back to the TARDIS. Do you or do you not know that the Toymaker's back before you see him? Because if you know, why did you even bring her?
Yeah.
Why the idea, because again, the Toymaker shouldn't even be in this universe. He should be in the toy room outside the universe with that blah, 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 blah. The idea that he saw everyone going mad from the giggle, and he saw Skooky Bill on the television, and he was like, I bet the Toymaker's behind this. Ridiculous to me. So, fucking cut those little foreboding, oh, I've got a memory. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off. We don't need to hear he's got a memory. We see him have a memory when he meets the Toymaker. It flashes back to a coloured version of the original William Hartnell story.
Yeah.
That's, by the way, amazing. I love that. Have that be it. Have it be a surprise. Wouldn't it have been dumb if in the Stolen Earth, the one where Davos comes back in Series 4, if before Davos appeared on the screen, he was just stood in the TARDIS like, I've got a memory.
God, fuck.
I've got a memory of a man in a chair.
It's like lazy. It's just like fucking lazy lazy writing.
It's lazy for it's lazy foreboding.
Yeah.
Like, because again, fans know that the toy maker's coming back, and it's just like it's supposed to be there so the fans who are wanking in their seats are like, oh, I reckon the toy maker's gonna wank soon. Like, it's fucking dumb. I hated that. And don't get me wrong, I should be one of those fans. I should have been there wanking, being like, oh, I reckon the toy maker's gonna appear soon. But that line, that's like edging for me. Like, I'm not into edging, folks. Like, I was like, no, I want to come. Let me come. Don't edge me off, Ross. Just let me have a big old come. I hated that. Yeah, but in my opinion, the highlight of the episode is Shooty. He really is. He's in a lot of it. He's in like the last like 15, 20 minutes of the episode. Like this, I was saying beforehand, because I didn't want to give it away, I was like, well, his first story is on Christmas. No, this was his first story. You get a really good amount of Shooty in this episode. I really enjoyed him.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But to be fair, in fairness, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
He was good in,
Barbie?
no.
It's the only thing I've seen.
He wasn't that much in Barbie.
He wasn't.
I was thinking the TV show.
Sex Education.
Yeah, Sex Education.
Which I haven't seen.
He is a good actor, right? He is a good actor. The only part that's a little bit cringe is that he's gay and black. And then he references the doctor is like honey. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. But I mean, who cares, right? Who gives a shit?
I don't give a shit.
Who gives a shit? Like, I'm sure it will be fun and enjoyable. And that's obviously the direction that it's going in. Fun and enjoyable with like the goblins and the...
I know you're saying it's a joke, but I just want to establish for the audience. You find the fact that he's gay cringe, not the fact that he's black.
No.
You're saying gay and black because it's funny.
Yeah.
But,
it's the fact that they've actually brought the gay into the real...
Yeah.
Like the fact that he's gay in real life, in my opinion, that doesn't need to be a part of the character, but they brought it in anyway, which I find... That is a bit cringe. That is a bit cringe. Especially with all of the other kind of like inclusivity inserted stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also something else is something that I was curious about is the Doctor's companion something that he is interested in sexually?
No,
because you see, well, from all the early Doctors, it's always, you know, what appears to be, you'd assume, a straight dude with a woman, but there's never any interest in that regard.
Well, no, there kind of is in both David Tennant, in Christopher Eccleston, in Matt Smith, in all of them, in the acting, it's there.
Yeah, but that's only a New Who thing. So, Classic Who, delves into Doctors 1 to 7, and all of them are very asexual Doctors. To the point where, like, at some point the Fourth Doctor was talking to a companion, and he was like, I'm sure you're reasonably attractive. I wouldn't know. Blah, 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 blah. The most sexuality the Doctor displayed from Doctors 1 to 7 is the fact that Doctor 1 had a granddaughter. So you can kind of assume, like, well, he's got a granddaughter, he's probably gone around, you know. But apart from that, there was nothing. There really was nothing. It was Doctor 8 in the 1996 movie, who was the first Doctor to be rather sexual. He kissed a companion. He was like, oh, it's New Year's Day and I'm half human and it's midnight. Let's kiss. And he snogs her.
God damn!
That's how it was written in the script too. But yeah, he snogs her. And don't be wrong, Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor, is a hunk. So, I get it. But then, when the 9th Doctor comes in, the 9th Doctor isn't sexual. He's still rather asexual. I mean, yes, he kissed Rose at the end, but that was like, that had a purpose to it. That was to remove the time vortex from her. It's not a romantic kiss. You're not watching the 9th Doctor kiss Rose at the end of that being like,
it's not super romantic, no, but it's still kind of, still kind of there.
In the idea that a kiss is sexual, sure, but you're not watching that being like, oh, I always knew they should be together. Like, no, it's a kiss. It's in a way, it's a platonic kiss. It is a kiss, I admit. But then Tennant comes and you're like, oh no, the Doctor fucks. The Doctor's a sexual deviant at this point, actually. Never mind he is sexual. This guy is chasing the puss.
And then Matt Smith, even more.
Yeah. But Tennant, because it wasn't just Rose, but we also get the girl in the fireplace with Madame de Pompadour.
Yeah.
Where he, like, falls in love with a woman, like, straight up, just falls in love. And that's when we get, like, you know, oh, dance with me. I can't. I don't dance. And she's like, you're gonna dance with me. And they dance. And it's like, obviously the metaphor is sex. We get it. We get it with that. And then, obviously, he falls in love with Rose. Martha falls in love with him, but he doesn't reciprocate, and then Donna and him are just mates. Then we get Matt Smith, and you're right, Hector. This guy fucks.
This guy fucks.
This guy fucks loud, fucks hard, and fucks often. Because we get him
fucks with the door open.
Yeah, because we get him with Amy, and Amy, it's almost like a Marvel situation. She not even like as a joke, she straight up just tries to fuck him.
Yeah.
They're in her bedroom. She's in a
properly.
miniskirt. When he pushes her away, she lays on the bed all seductive with her titties. And he's like, well, fucking, it's the night before my wedding. I'm not married. And it's like, okay, you straight up, I love Doctor, it's a child show. You are trying to fuck him. You want to suck his cock. Like,
the night before her wedding.
So he doesn't reciprocate that. But then, obviously, we get the reintroduction and the development of River Song, who is, without a doubt, apart from Captain Jack, the horniest character in Doctor Who history. The woman is constantly wet. She just constantly is in demand for cock. And the Doctor was more than happy to give it. And then we get, and then we get Clara, who the 11th Doctor is like genuinely creepy towards. The creepiest line in Doctor Who ever is about Clara, where
Peter Capaldi's like fucking 60.
No, I'm talking about the 11th Doctor still.
Oh, the 11th Doctor. Oh.
She was an 11th Doctor companion before.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, in the back half of season 7, Matt Smith's last episode. Yeah. Remember, she was in the 50th with him and David Tennant.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, because the entirety of the back half of season 7 is about trying to explore the mystery of Clara. How does she keep appearing? She's died twice and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And at one point she leaves to TARDIS to go home, and he's standing there and he goes like, "Who are you, Clara? You are a... You are a mystery."
Oh,
I know.
God.
This is an actual line. He goes, "You're a mystery you're a mystery inside of an enigma wrapped in a skirt that's just a little bit too tight." And then he like smiles and he's like, "Ooh." And it's like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, what the fuck?
I'm going to need to rewatch that clip.
I'll show you that clip. Creepiest clip in Doctor Who history. I remember watching that even as a kid, even as a 13-year-old being like, "Ooh." What do you mean? Then we get Capaldi, and Capaldi is like pretty strictly asexual, like really asexual. He still loves River Song. There's an episode where they have together, and he spends the end of that episode that is going to spend 24 years with her on Delirium. And I have to assume in 24 years that they fuck. But
he fucks hard.
He fucks hard.
Loud.
He fucks with the door open. It's 24 years. They probably fucked a lot too. But apart from that,
more than 24 times.
Apart from that, yeah, it'd be weird if they only fucked once a year. It's with a son. She loves cock. But apart from that one episode, he doesn't fuck. But then Jodie Whittaker comes, and at first it's like, okay, she is asexual.
I was just about to say, what?
Jodie Whittaker. I just got it. But Jodie Whittaker arrives, should I say? And at first you're thinking the same. You're like, okay, she's asexual. But then she's with Yaz. And in the last, like, fucking 3 episodes of Yaz, we discover that, no, her and Yav have fallen in love with each other. And it is very much reciprocated. Doctor does love Yaz romantically. But then she's going to regenerate Yaz leaves. Here's my problem with that. First of all, I like the consistency. For me, it's not a case of the Doctor needs to be straight. I don't care about his gender, but the Doctor has very much proven that he's into chicks.
Yeah.
He likes the girls.
Whether or not it's a he or a she.
Yeah, whether or not he's a he,
the
she,
Doctor
that.
is the same entity.
Yeah, the Doctor's into women. Not only that, but considering his age, he's into a very younger women. But
by a couple of billion years.
Yes. But my main problem with that is that, the idea of Jodie and Yaz being in love, sure, have the Doctor technically, legally be a lesbian, that's fine. They don't even kiss. And it's like, bruh, how... It's 2023, first of all. You can kiss on TV. People will be angry, sure, who gives a fuck about them? They're the bad people. Have them just kiss.
Had it before.
The Doctor's kissed Donna.
Yeah.
Like, have them just kiss. But no, she's dying, and they get ice cream. and she leaves. They don't kiss once. It's like, what? And then suddenly, 2 episodes later, we meet Indian Isaac Newton, and the Doctor's like, oh yeah, he really was hot, wasn't he? Oh, is that who I am now? I'm sorry, I'm not saying this in a homophobic way. No, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. You're into women, Doc. You're not, you're not straight. Doesn't matter what body you're in. You have proven time and time again you are into chicks. You like titties and vagine. Okay? The only 2 guys you kissed on screen were Captain Jack, and he kissed you, and Rory, who you kissed out of like excitement. It clearly wasn't a romantic kiss. It wasn't like, oh, Rory. Like, no, Rory came up with something. Rory came up with something, and you were like, oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I love that. Mwah, awesome. Apart from that, strictly chicks.
I can bet my bottom dollar at the very bottom of my boots that this black gay doctor is going to kiss men.
Yeah, but okay, to answer your question though, because you asked about the companions specifically.
Yeah,
the Doctor's companions have been primarily love interests. Again, apart from the classic, where there was actually a rule during the 80s, no hanky-panky in the TARDIS was the exact rule, where they couldn't even hug. He couldn't even hug his companions. That wasn't allowed. They had to be like it's like COVID regulations. They had to be like 6 feet away from each other all the time. But that's an interesting point to bring up, because Shooty is with Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday, his new companion, and that is a doctor, that is a doctor and a woman. From what we can tell, his type, a young blonde woman. So that would make it weird if suddenly, we have a gay actor playing the Doctor, and the Doctor only travels with men now. That would be weird.
Yeah.
But that's not what they're doing. They're following the status quo of it's a male Doctor and a female companion.
Has every single companion been a woman?
Well, we're about to find out if it will be.
I can answer that. Main ones, yeah, there have been male companions, but just the Doctor and the male companion? Never. Literally never. The only male companions we've had have been in like TARDIS trios, where there's like 3 of them, or more. Never just been the Doctor and a man.
Okay.
Because the Doctor's a sexist.
I won't be surprised if that changes now, to be honest.
No, I would. Because it's not about the sexuality at that point. It's to make it just a Doctor and a man.
It's about the dynamic.
It's not only about the dynamic, but again, nowadays it's about the wokeness. If it's just a Doctor and a man travelling around, you've got no female representation.
Smart.
Yeah. The only way that could change, and I really did think there was a chance they would do it for Jodie, is if you have a female Doctor and a male companion. And they kind of did that, because we had Yaz, but we also had Ryan and Graham. Yeah. So they kind of did that. But I was expecting it to just be the Doctor and a man. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, no. Because men are bad.
Yeah, men are bad, yeah.
Like, men are kind of bad. Like, imagine having a Doctor, and this is, by the way, I might cut this, but imagine having a Doctor and a companion where the companion could, like, actually rape the Doctor.
Oh.
Like,
I didn't even think about
like
that.
men and women, there is that power imbalance.
Yeah.
And even though the Doctor's a genius, to have that physical element of it, I was like, no, to be fair, I don't think they could do it. Like, I don't think they'd be brave enough to do it, Another relevant part of it is the fact that, like, again, because the Doctor has had male companions. He had Turlough in the original series. The Brigadier's technically a companion. He had Rory, he had Mickey Smith, he had Captain Jack. But they usually fall into 2 archetypes. They're usually either dweeby little guys who the Doctor can bro all over and be better than.
Yeah.
Or they're like almost an equal to the Doctor, but the Doctor's just like cooler. Because we look at, like, for example, because I know you've seen it, let's look at Rory.
A dweeb.
Complete dweeb. Just like the Doctor's dunking on Rory constantly, calling him Big Nose and like making fun of him to Amy's face. And Amy's still like, well, I love him, But then look at him with like Captain Jack. Like, Captain Jack is an immortal. Captain Jack is a hero in his own right, and he is cool. But he's not the Doctor. Captain Jack is cool and he's sexy, and all the girls want his cock, and he wants all the girls' vaginas and all the men's cock because he's pansexual. but the only thing kind of keeping the only thing that's like holding that friendship together is the fact that the Doctor is just naturally cooler than Captain Jack still, because he's the Doctor. You know, I think if like the Doctor couldn't travel with someone who was like as cool, if they introduced another Time Lord who was basically the Doctor, like they just did. The Doctor, David Tennant and Ncuti Gatwa's Doctors couldn't travel together.
Yeah.
There'd be too much friction. They'd butt head too much. One of them would have to become lesser.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can do it. And
because the Doctor is a headstrong character.
yeah. And that's the thing with a male companion. And again, it might be sexist, but I don't write the show yet. But the women characters, you know, none of them are like that. They're all kind of classical damsels in distress. The only one who became like that was the Sarah Jane Adventures. Was Sarah Jane, but like I just said, she got her own show in the end. She outgrew the Doctor. She didn't need the Doctor anymore, and she just became a central primary character in her own right, and that was wicked. But could we have the Sarah Jane from the Sarah Jane Adventures travelling with the Doctor? No. There would actually be too much friction because they're both too cool, you know? I don't know. It's hard. It's a hard question, but I can't, even though Ncuti is gay, I can't see him travelling with a male companion.
I guess time will tell. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see indeed.
Yeah. And on that very whimsical and forward-looking note, I think that concludes the podcast. We will see, and you guys will hear our opinions on it. My opinion will probably be that of the homophobic and offensive opinion. Yeah.
Well, I'm not homophobic because my balls are straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
I just got that.
Yeah. I think we'll record an episode before Christmas, and then the episode we record after Christmas, we'll have a review of the next episode. Because it's on Christmas. I shouldn't need to explain that. It's on a Christmas, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
I've sobered up. I was a mess there.
I know you were.
Yeah.
That's going to be recorded in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't regret it.
There were moments when Hector was speaking, or I was speaking,
and you were just like, oh.
You would just like
go
into the mic, but obviously because you were hunched forward like this the whole time, you'd be and kind of looking a little bit like this, and you go oh, and the mic is right there, so obviously
you have to edit that out.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah,
to
I'll edit that out. Audience, what you hear is a highly edited version. The normal version's probably worse. Just had a bit too much to drink, that's fine. Sue me, you know? But yeah, I can't think of anything else to talk about. Can you think of anything else to talk about?
I mean, we've covered 2 hours, 25 minutes of topic.
Yeah,
so,
that's a lot.
That's a chunky boy. That's one of the biggest episodes. No, it's not. It's the biggest episode we've done in a while.
It's one of the biggest episodes.
Yeah. We've done like 2 out of 40 ones.
Yeah. And now this is the second episode that Leander has been in. Hopefully it won't get unreleased.
I will edit out my bad things and make sure it's released.
Yeah.
100%.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for listening. I hope it wasn't a hard listen. I'll be dead sober next time. I won't have a drop of alcohol. I'm never drink again.
Wow. Okay, Dad.
Alright.
No, I'll be drunk
next episode we may be recording in the new room.
And I'll be even drunker.
Yeah, you'll be destroyed.
Yeah,
you're gonna get drunk in my house and you're gonna throw up all over my mattresses.
I'm gonna inject gin into my veins.
Yeah. You're gonna throw up on my mattresses, say some cryptic shit, and then go to bed.
Classic Dan. But yeah, thanks for listening. I hope this episode isn't a mess. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, take care, and we'll see you. We'll hear you. You'll hear us next time.
Allons-y.
Later.
That was cringe. Don't do that.
Fuck you.
Don't do it.
This is a Doctor Who episode. I wanted to do the Doctor Who thing.
No, did you not hear? That was me referencing it too. Because occasionally someone will do something, the Doctor will be like, "No, don't do that.
Oh,
Don't do that. No, don't. Remember, like with Mavity, the Isaac Newton thing.
Oh.
He's like, don't do that.
yeah.
So we both referenced it. Wow. I say Allons-y at work a lot.
Do you?
Yeah. Because I'm constantly having to do like the children faces I'm like, go over there. Come on. Hansi, let's go. Alright, bye.
Merry Christmas, everyone. But snow is falling all around you. Children playing, having fun. Is the season of love and understanding. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone. But snow is falling all around us.
Oh,
Fuck
good
you,
point to make
Bradley.
before you-
I'll sing Christmas songs.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, come, all ye faithful. Joyous and be. How does it go? Do you know that one? Do, 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 do.